Welcome to CX in the Wild Season 3. Let's catch up with Dennis on Safari now.
All right, so wow,
We're in the wild.
Nate Brown here. Nate, it's so nice to catch up with you in person and have you on the podcast. Tell the audience who you are and what you do.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Nate Brown. I love customer experience work. I'm a student of it. I'm learning from everybody in this community. It's just the best. It's the best work in the world. I mean, it's just making people's lives better and easier in so many different exciting ways right now. So I started selling postage meters on the streets of Jacksonville, Florida. Discovered as a very bad postage meter salesman that I loved helping those that already had a device. And my customer service mentality was born there in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I pursued a career inside of customer service. And then ultimately, I guess 5 or 6 years ago, kind of made that hard pivot to the larger customer experience mentality and career. And it's just been awesome.
You know, when I first bumped into you, you were doing the CX Accelerator.
Boom.
And then you wrote this like seminal customer experience white paper that I thought was just profound. And so I think what I really admire about you is a lot of things. I'll just start listing them. You know, I love that your activism in the community. You've been such a wonderful uniter of people, products, brands, ideas. You've been such a great thought leader with your seminal paper. I knew you were something special because my first interaction with you was you were doing a personality test on CXers to kind of get your mind wrapped around what we're composed of.
Love that one.
And since then, I've just really, I think the major thing I admire you for is the content creation. You know, myself, I'm always on this content creation, and it's not easy. It's a really difficult thing.
Yes, it is.
How do you balance all of these things?
I don't. I just sprinted around the corner. So it's been a wild couple of months. I mean, you know, there's, and Jenny Dempsey will laugh as I say this. I am always kicking myself in the butt. Nate, you're not doing enough. Your stuff isn't good enough. I just have this guilt of what CX Accelerator should be and it's not. What I should be and I'm not. And it's been a lot of mentorship and some really dear friends that have been like, you're helpful and what you're doing is good. We're grateful for you. You need to have a little gratitude towards yourself.
Let me jump in on that before you go too far. Whoever said that to you was 100% right. You are a fantastic catalyst for everyone in the community around you.
Thank you.
And if you just need another voice, you're doing way more than most in the industry, so everyone appreciates you. So
that's very kind.
That's on the record now, Nate.
It is. I can't deny it. But it is very difficult I feel like contentment is the hardest fish for me to catch. And so I've really had to, because balance for me is that. Like in terms of time balance, I do have a lot of energy. And I'm able to squeeze time out of a lot of places. So for me, balance is more about mental health and keeping myself energized and excited and creating content that's helpful. Because when I go into one of those darker places, I can't create things that are helpful, that are worthwhile. So it's like, how can I maintain my excitement, my energy, my focus? That to me is finding balance. And I have been a little better about that these past few months.
How do you do it? How do you find your focus and stay energized?
I mean, it's just finding like meaningful pockets of purpose. Like I love my family. I love serving them first and foremost. And then like I love the company that I get to serve inside of Arise. And that I've gotten to have some ownership now of like an employee advocacy program, which as a CX leader, that's where it starts. So I get to practice what I preach in that way. And that's been such a fun and meaningful experience. So having that, but then for me, it's just about relationships and people, just putting good, helpful, positive people in my life, talking to them more. So huge thank you to Justin Robbins and Jenny Dempsey and Jeremy Watkin and so many others who have invested in me and helped me to find that balance. I'm a little ashamed of this, but I will fully admit it. A lot of my identity does come from those externals. It's hard for me to maintain it myself because I'm always looking outward for other things, other validation. So when I keep those dear friends and the great CX community around me, that helps me to stay centered and find that balance.
Yeah, it's important to have a good support system.
Yes.
It's interesting you say that, because I in the community, I'm sort of this anomalous lone wolf. I'm always just doing my own thing. I don't look at external factors enough, probably, and I just blaze my own like random wandering. I don't know if I have as much of a journey as more as just a wide open patch of field that I'm wandering through.
That's awesome.
But I will say I have a good family like you, and I have a great team Wakabayashi, so they keep me grounded. So it's important to have that support system.
Yeah, it is. Otherwise,
I think there is a part of us that just wakes up each day and it's like, why am I going to tell another CX story today? And to be fair, you and I are part of a greater community of, I think we inspire others to help them, be passionate about this topic.
This work is so easy to get burned out on. I mean, we're just giving so much, and we're trying to foster energy and excitement and curiosity in this work that we do.
Yeah.
So if we're not exuding that, our content's not going to be very good, and we're not going to be helping a ton of people. So, I mean, I feel like that element of curiosity, to always be learning. Like, I love you, Dennis, in that sense of you don't put yourself out there as somebody. I know exactly what to do now. I am the god of CX who knows everything. Come and follow my wisdom, people. It's you. You are, hey, let's learn this together. Let's figure this out. Here's a new thing. Let's go chase that down. Yeah. And you're additive. You're just adding so many elements into people's overall knowledge. It's that idea of innovation is having dots out there to connect, and then connecting them in different ways. But you got to have dots. You got to earn those dots. You are a dot giver.
Thank you. I'm a dot chaser. So thank you.
That's perfect.
Thank you so much. That's like the best compliment I've gotten all year. Well, Nate, so speaking of the industry and what we're doing in the industry, what are you paying attention to this year?
Yeah. I mean, Mark Schaefer has stolen my heart with belonging to the brand. And I really feel like CX leaders are community builders. And just, he's the one that really predicted that paid advertising and the way we used to do marketing was not going to work anymore. And through Marketing Rebellion, that we would find this more relationship, organic, all this stuff that you and I have been living these past 5-6 years, and how that's just changed the way we do sales and marketing and beyond. Well, now, I mean, he's released Belonging to the Brand, and it's really talking about how the future of the brand and marketing and customer experience and all of it is community. And in the sense of, can the brand invite people in to a meaningful brand core that fosters identity, that makes great connections, that gives people purpose? I mean, that's what great brands do.
Wow. So I don't want to delve into I'm not a controversy guy, that I've been having this conversation with myself, and you just opened it up, and I'll just talk about it a little bit.
Yes.
There was recently a beer company who got themselves into a little bit of weird hot water.
Sure.
For and under the flag of inclusivity, which the ironies, and I can see why the algorithms were like, let's jump on this and make it a thing. But here on the Mark Schaefer conversation, on what you're saying, in my own belief, this is where I think I fall in that whole conversation. As you know, my whole philosophy of CX is, all of CX is composed of 3 components: reputation, reach, and relationships.
All right.
And I think traditional marketers, they're always looking at reach. How can I reach new people, reach new audiences, include more people?
Absolutely.
Let's call it that. And I can see how inclusivity and including and reach, but I've held this belief for at least the last 5 years of traditional marketing going after reaching new audiences at the expense or behind cultivating relationships and building good reputation is a recipe for failure.
Absolutely.
And I just feel like this marketing director, had they went to their existing audience and their relationships and said, hey, check out this new group of people who don't have as much of a voice as we do. Let's include them in our conversation. I suspect that whole conversation would have went exactly the way they had hoped or tried to predict. But what they did was they abandoned, or they failed to recognize that in this new subscription economy, everybody who had already paid their tickets or voted with their own money for that brand, they weren't consulted. And I think that's where that whole conversation went weird.
I mean, it's fascinating, Dennis, and I've been following that story peripherally because it certainly is interesting. And I mean, I'm all about authentic brands that have a compelling brand promise, that have a set of core values that they defend to the end, that they stand for, because that's how loyalty to me is generated. So this story, this example with this beer company is interesting because and I'm not sure if this is the case, but it feels to me like there might have been a check the box mentality happening in terms of this is something we need to do because it's out here.
Let me jump in on there before you expand on that, because I was going to do a whole story on this. I did a lot of research.
Yeah.
I went in, I watched the interviews and the podcasts and the conversation from that marketing director leading up to that moment. So you're right. As a soundbite, maybe there was, but as it turned out, that's not the case entirely.
It's deeper than that.
Yes. So this marketing director came at it. This marketing director, fabulous marketing director, all the basics, fundamentals, the things that you need to do to do big brands. And I, as you may remember, I worked personally, led customer experience strategies at McDonald's, FedEx, AT&T. I'm currently working on 2 global brands at the moment as a CX consultant. So I see this. So I see these marketing directors. This beer brand marketing director was very solid, and their evolution of how they worked into this particular checkbox. It wasn't like they pulled out a list and started going down it. There was an evolution of cultivating, because I heard the soundbite of our brand was getting tired and had this culture of frat boy stuff. That was the anxiety-inducing set of keywords that the algorithms and haters. My other point is I believe the internet is mostly filled with instigators or retaliators.
It does feel like that some days.
That all fit in there. But if you looked at the body of work, there was a progression of inclusion across races, across age groups, across marital, familial status. And it did reposition. If you saw some of the other spots that were done prior to this, and this thing that was done was, for my estimation, a one-off kindness gesture that was done. Brands do it all the time. One time, I gave away lifetime chicken at Boston Market to certain celebrities. One of them was Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber sure did take that card, went into a store, got some footage, and posted it. And it was just like a gimme, right? So I think this campaign was really one of these things that this is another wide audience. That's a hot topic, and we'll throw out this nice thing. So I don't think there was a strategic, like, let's do this for this group. It was just one of a million things they were doing, but it happened to get caught up in the algorithms because I hate to talk about me on this podcast, but my real underlying belief is the reason I break it into those 3 reputation, reach, and relationships, Nate, is because those are the algorithms that run things. The social algorithms, the digital ad platforms, and the CRMs. So I just think there was an insensitivity. If I dinged them on anything, it would be an insensitivity to the impact that algorithms have on their customer experiences at scale.
Yeah, because what I was looking for, and maybe it was happening more than I saw it, but as these things broke and as this perception was developed, what are the leaders going to do here? Are they going to double down on this and embrace this thing, or are they going to be quiet now? Are they going to retreat or something else? And that's really, because it's all about authenticity here. Don't do that because of something over here peripherally. Do it because it's part of your brand core, because you really believe it and you're trying to change the culture in a meaningful way. That's when it matters.
I love, and you're 100% right. And that's why I think you didn't see them plant a flag, because I think they were like, what? Wait, what? We were on a whole different mission. This was just one of many other things that we do. So it wasn't an agenda item for them.
Got it.
But you make me think about something else. And I normally I don't talk to people as entrenched in the industry. So I want your opinion on this. And because I know you wear many hats, feel free to say pass on this question. But here's a thing that I've been struggling with lately in the world of enterprise CX. Unpopular and harsh opinion, but here it is. The CEO and the teams, the CXO, all the people in an organization who report to the CEO, they are serving customers, and customer experience is a thing, okay? I think we can agree on that.
Yes.
Okay. Here's the
So far, so good.
Here's the controversial thing.
Okay.
The shareholders don't care about the customer.
Yeah.
The shareholders are the ones who empower the CEO and that existing team to serve customers. So there's this huge disconnect between the market and the shareholders who don't care about the employees or the customers. But yet here we are in an industry that I feel like we can climb the ladder all the way to the top, and there's no real conduit between the market, the financial markets, and the customers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dennis, I feel like the quarterly revenue shareholder mentality might be the greatest foe of customer experience.
Okay.
In the sense of that short-term thinking. Now, should the company make money? Absolutely. It's about the long-term view and the relationship building versus we have to make X in this quarter and then trying to plug CX into that context. It does not work.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was starting to get down on shareholders, but I think you said it right. The short-term mentality is the problem. Thank you for calibrating me properly.
The quarterly metric of revenue. CX does not fit into that timeline or that bucket.
Fair. All right. So back to you. Enough about us. Back to you. So what are you thinking about this next year? What are your plans? When people think about you, what should they be thinking about?
Gosh, I community. Yeah. As we've kind of talked about already, like I want to rally people together to create meaningful connections with each other, with employees, with brands, get energy and excitement into the work. Curiosity has kind of been my word. We just need to get really curious about how we can do this work even better, make it more fun, invite more people into it. I've been thinking quite a bit, Dennis, too, and I was having this conversation recently with a couple folks, but the idea of sometimes the thing that holds us back from doing CX well is customer experience and making it about CX and using our buzzwords and trying to suck it into our little box of customer experience. And that turns people off because we have our own language, we have our own little tribe or cult in this customer experience realm. So I've been thinking about how do we destroy some of those barriers, some of those silos that we have ironically created around this work, that what actually matters is creating a customer-centric mentality. It's about connecting employees to customers in these great ways. It's about the fulfillment of the brand promise. It's about generating loyalty. If that happens under the words and banner of CX, awesome. If it doesn't, awesome. That's okay.
Yeah. So when I go into an enterprise and I begin to talk to them, I'll tell you my talk track. The first thing I say is I try to dispel some of this complexity or jargon or CX-ness. And I just say, listen, now that we're all in this room together and we're going to talk about CX for real, let me explain to you one of the most common misconceptions that everyone in the industry has around CX. If you ask someone, an executive, what is customer experience, many of them will describe it as a practice that enhances the relationship between a brand and a customer.
Love that. Yes.
See? And they all say that. And then what I say is, I don't believe that.
Here. Oh, twist. Whoa, plot twist.
Yeah. What I say is, most people you ask will say that. But the truth is, customer experience inside an enterprise is about the understanding that every single person wants to be the hero of their own story.
Yeah.
So customer experience is about this organization's ability to rally around supporting and enabling a customer to be the hero of their own story.
I love it.
And so by doing that, I can then make the conversation about, now, customer, they're the hero of their own story, and we fit our sandwich into their day. But it's not about our sandwich and them. It's about their day and what's happening. And furthermore, if we follow that logic, each employee wants to be the hero of their own story. So this isn't about capitulation or collaboration with our employees for a culture. It's about letting each of them understand how they fit into their own story and how a customer can be part of their routine that makes them fulfill their own destiny. So I try to make it about the destiny of human beings.
Oh, interesting. That's a good word for it.
And the mechanics that relate to each of those in the context of one.
Well, you may or may not know, Dennis, but you're tapping into one of my absolute favorite resources, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And that idea, that exact idea of the customer as the hero of the story. So then what are we?
Yeah.
The guide. And I love the psychology of the guide. We get to understand what the customer's definition of success is, where they're trying to go in this customer journey. We talk about customer journeys all the time, but how often do we think about the actual stages along that journey, where they're trying to get, and how we can get them there better, faster, stronger, whatever it is. How can we be the guide to make the journey better for them? And that's a wonderful role.
And I'll throw this out because we're really getting nerdy right now, but there was this guy I interviewed, first guy on the CX in the Wild podcast, this guy named Mark Karches. Nice. And he's in Dubai, he's a consultant, and he really made me get the podcast going right in the moment, because I talked to him about CX, just casual, you're sitting there, and he's like, yeah, here's the thing about CX. It's not for everybody, and we should not be trying to make all the customers happy. No. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
And he was like, not 100% of the customers, we're not going to empower them. They're not going to be happy. The business is not built to serve everyone equally. Why can't we just use what we do best for those who can get the most out of it?
That's trying not to be all things to all people.
Yeah.
And it's trying to find your customers that belong to you, that you can serve with your unique brand promise the very best and actually generate loyalty. That's not going to be everybody.
You've mentioned loyalty a lot, and it's such an important element. I don't touch on that much in my work. Break that down for us. How does loyalty work?
I mean, I really feel like the more I do customer experience work, it becomes more and more about that loyalty factor. How are we earning loyalty inside of the organization? We're locking our employees in and galvanizing them around a meaningful purpose. The great peer-to-peer relationships, we're fostering that gift that then they can give forward to the customer in the form of the customer experience. We're trying to extend that loyalty, extend that meaningful experience onward to the customer and make them be loyal, increase their share of wallet, increase the customer lifetime value. These are the meaningful outputs of CX when it's done really well. It's the right thing to do for people, and it's the right thing to do for the organization financially long term. But as you said, the quarterly shareholder model gets in the way and prohibits us from taking that marathon view sometimes.
That shareholder quarterly view, the what have you done for me now mentality,
is terrifying.
It's tough. So what else is happening? So as you build your community, you have CX Accelerator. It's a nonprofit devoted to empowering CXers everywhere.
Yes.
Speaking of checking the box, what I know is it's highly inclusive. And everybody can participate. You welcome everyone with open arms. And, how do people get involved with that and to support that organization?
Yeah, would love. I mean, it's about you as a CX professional and equipping you and helping you on your entire career journey. It's not about where you work right now. It's about you having an incredible CX career that's rewarding, that's meaningful, and just fostering and equipping people to do this work even better, because it is so darn important. So that's what that community mechanism is built to do. and encourage
now,
and
do you
equip
have
one another.
moderators there now, or are you still moderating?
There's a lot I could say on that, Dennis. Yeah, we do have some wonderful volunteer channel leaders that are actively engaged, and that's the beautiful part about Slack, right? Is having threaded dialogues on employee experience, workforce management, women in CX. Gosh, there's so many others. Just great channel threads. Education in CX, credentials and academic programs. And I mean, there's so many elements to this work as it continues to evolve. It's like, how do we visualize our career journey? How do we equip ourselves? And that community is really good at getting that element of inspiration there.
It's so many valuable things. Do people donate to that? Is there a way that people donate? Or
No, and hopefully at some point as we kind of continue down the community path and that nonprofit path, that'll be a mechanism that could be there. And we're looking to be able to do some of those things so that we can do more of what we are doing inside of that community. We can just get it moving faster in that engine sense. So some great things to come there, but as of right now, just hop on over to cxaccelerator.com, join our Slack community. Jenny Dempsey is doing a brilliant and wonderful mentorship program right now through that. We've got a couple events that are coming up. We've got Sally Mildren, who I adore, who is launching a CX resource, a podcast of sorts called Bring Your Own Chair, which is just about the CX professional. How can we help to overcome these barriers that prohibit us from doing this work in the best way possible? And she's equipping people to be able to do the very best that they can do in their CX career. So, I mean, these are the things that we want to double down on.
If I was a brand listening, I feel like one of the best things I could do is invest in something like CX Accelerator, because you said for the people, it's the CXer joins the accelerator, but they have this lifetime journey where they move in and out of brands or in different things. Exactly. But at the same time, why can't brands have a permanent resource where they're like, my teams might change over the next 10 years, but CX Accelerator will still be there?
It will.
Feels like there's no way to donate money.
Not yet. Very soon, we'll have some opportunities for some grants and some things like that, so that we can do some cool events. As an example. But it will always be free. It's never going to be a bait and switch situation, because a lot of these communities will get set up and then immediately pivot to some revenue stream as soon as they've brought a community together. It's like, okay, how can we do this paid event or run over here and do this subscription model? That will never ever be CX Accelerator.
It's for the people, by the people, for the people.
That's it. Yes, it sounds like a law firm, but yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there any other thoughts? Should I be asking you questions? I feel like I've in my career I've seen you so much, but rarely ever had a chance to sit down. Am I not asking you something? What could I be asking you that might evoke something that's important that you need to get out there, or piece of wisdom? I mean,
I love asking people that question, and I don't have an answer for it myself. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that before. Goodness. I mean, just the work is so important. This work of customer experience, right? It's too important to fail in the sense of right now people are isolating more and more. There's more and more friction just coming into our lives, into our relationships with brands and just beyond. So as much as you can, be a bridge builder, be a community cultivator. And that's really what I'm looking to be, is to morph more and more into that person who's capable of creating those really, really meaningful connections with people, with brands, and just create great, meaningful communities. So I hope that's what my legacy will be in this space. And you, Dennis, are already just so good at doing that. So I want to become more and more like you are.
Well, next show we'll talk about how to be like me. No,
yes.
You know what you made me think of, Nate, is one of the wisest things I ever heard someone say. They were talking about where to invest in the CX, and I think you're embodying this wisdom, and through CX Accelerator, and just your talking point there, which is, when a CEO asks where they should invest in a CX program internally, this guy's answer was, The good news is the first place you need to invest inside your organization in CX doesn't cost anything. It's teamwork.
Yeah.
And so you're really talking about industry teamwork, community teamwork between the brands and the people. So I really admire that.
Yeah, it's not just ramming people together in a shallow relationship and having your cat conversation on Slack and your little party that you did over here with free beer. Those things are fine, but it is deeper than that. And when we layer on our desire to foster real loyalty to the organization and its meaningful purpose, it's developing great relationships in the context of service to that brand and to that brand promise. So you're bringing people in that actually care about it, because you cannot teach that. You can't pay for that. You just got to have people out there that actually care about what you're doing. Then you grow them. Then you create those connections. And customer experience is a result of that. Yeah. They want it. They want to serve customers well because they care about what the business is doing. You cannot fake that. And I love how Arise has the brand affinity component. Like our service partners are selecting the brands that they want to serve. That feels good. That's right.
I love that you're passionate about it. Since you brought it up, do you want to talk about Arise? What is Arise and what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's creating great connections between customers and amazing brands. We have this incredible network of 30,000 to 50,000 service partners who are they have found a new place in terms of work-life flexibility. They have found balance in their lives. And it works so well. The idea of gig CX is so perfect for what these organizations need, because customer volume doesn't fit in the box of 9 to 5. They have spikes. They have fluctuations. So just about any organization in the world is going to need to have the capability to say, our customers need us right here, right now, in this way. Let's flex. Let's give them what they need. And to have this network of service partners ready to go that are in that great place in their life, they found that flexibility. They can award that flexibility to these great brands. That's what Arise has been doing for 25 years. They've been doing remote work and making these type of connections for 25 years. This is not a COVID baby. This is something that they have been just so good at for so long. And it's exciting to be a part of that.
Again, the power of community. You're always sort of at the center of that conversation. All right, well, Nate, thank you for being on the podcast. I'll include all your contact information so people can get to you, so you don't have to worry about that. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Dennis. Thanks for having me. I'm so glad I ran into you, and thanks for everything that you're doing in our CX community. I really appreciate you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming on this adventure. To catch up with Dennis for CX news and industry events, visit www.denniswakabayashi.com.